Number 1 says write less than or greater than to make the number sentences true. So if we look here, we're going to start at our ones place. We have a 0 and we have a 1. Obviously, 1 whole is greater than no wholes. So that would be 5/10 is less than 1 whole. Then we have 3 and 2/10 and 3 and 2/100. So we start at our ones. They're both 3s. So we move on to our tenths. We have a 2 and we have a 0. 2/10 is greater than 0/10, so greater than. C is 4 and 83/100 and 4 and 8/10. So we look here, 4, 4. So we move on to our tenths. We have 8, 8. So we move on to our hundredths. We have 3 and we have nothing, which means 0. So obviously 3 is greater than 0, so it's greater than. D is 6 and 25/100 and 6 and 4/10. So we look at the ones, they're both 6. We look at the tenths, we have 2 and 4. 4 is greater than 2, so it's less than. Last, we have 7/10 and 7/100. So we have zeros in our ones. We have a 7 and a 0 in our tenths. 7 is obviously greater than 0, so greater than. Number 2 says write in standard notation. Standard notation is how we normally see numbers. So we have 2 times 10 to the third, which means a 2 with 3 zeros, which is 2,000. 7 times 10 to the fifth is 7 with 5 zeros, 700,000. And 3 times 10 to the second is 3 with 2 zeros, so 300. Number 3 says solve. 1/2 of 9, which means 9 over 2. You could leave it that way, or 2 goes into 9 4 times with 1 left over. Our denominator stays the same. Then we have 1/5 of 4, which means 5 divided by 4, or 4 goes into 5 1 time with 1 left over, 1 and 1/4. Number 4 says write each decimal in words. So this one is 16/100. Which is just like 100, but with a TH. And then we have 3 and 28/100. So remember, we write our whole number. Our decimal point is and. 28/100. Number 5 says explain how you compared the decimals in problem 1. So again, just like we talked about while we were doing it, you look at the ones place and see which number is bigger. If they're both the same in that place value, you move on to the next place value, which would be the tenths. Then you compare those numbers. If they're the same, we keep moving on to the hundredths place until we find one that is greater.